Hold up. New Corey Holcomb PDF receipts just slammed onto the timeline. And listen to this. Folks are already whispering that this drop makes the last round look light.
You ever looked at a daughter room who almost grown?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, okay.
Jesus.
This shit go out.
You know what's amazing? In 3 weeks, gonna see this whole episode on SVU. I can't crack any jokes.
Unless it was a party.
Come here, boy, let me show you how to.
I don't think
Is that a good thing to do?
No.
Because my son is coming to town this week. He's 16. Should I take him somewhere?
What? No.
You got these bathhouses out here?
Are you
Get
serious?
his ass washed by a
I don't think
At
so.
16?
No, I don't think so. Unless
Just
he's
relax and let it happen, boy.
No, if he was 18,
Crying-
maybe.
crying a
Take
little
him.
bit, like
What's that 16-year-old kid look when they getting their ass washed by a
Yeah, they
grown
start.
bitch?
Let us scrub you.
Or you
Wait,
stop
does
squirming.
it?
You be looking at you, you be like this.
Right.
He's
It hurt.
crying, he's sniffling.
Let it happen.
There comes a moment where you have to stop and ask yourself, what exactly was the joke supposed to be here? If this was stand-up, where was the punchline supposed to land? Corey was in that room sharing a story that immediately made people uncomfortable, and the room basically reacted with, right bro, no. So seriously, what was meant to be funny about that? But hold up, it gets even more surprising. Clips are resurfacing showing other questionable comments he made, and people are sitting there thinking, wait, was that supposed to be a joke? Go ahead, explain the punchline, because nobody caught one. It didn't land as comedy. It felt heavy, awkward, and you could literally sense the tension in the room.
Something? Anybody want to talk about
I
that?
didn't hear
Wait,
the question.
what? What you gonna
Any of the their kids saw you naked or something?
No.
Now the internet is lining up the puzzle pieces and saying this could explain why his former co-host quietly backed away from the podcast. When you rewind that clip, you can literally watch the disgust wash over his face the second those comments left Corey's mouth. That wasn't laughter, that was a straight shock. That was a man sitting there thinking, nah, I'm not co-signing this. And listen to this, the question that really set the timeline on fire is this: why would the children of the woman you're dating ever claim they've seen you naked? How does that even become a topic of discussion? That's the moment that has people frozen, staring at their screens. Like, hold up, what is actually happening here? No, seriously, what is really going on here? There's zero justification for something like that happening even once, let alone repeatedly. That's why so many people understood Zoe's visible disgust in that moment, because this didn't feel like a random slip-up. Corey has told her, and that pattern is exactly what's making people uneasy.
No, never.
It was an accident, but it
Almost.
happened.
Yeah, almost.
One day the kids walked in the room, and me and the mama was under the cover naked, and then one of the little girls got under the cover and was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah."
I'm in here too. How old was the little girl?
Probably about 9.
Oh, she wasn't that young.
She saw why her mama ain't charged me
Maybe
no
that one
rent.
He was like 3 or something. She's like, "Mommy."
In the first story that got everyone talking, he shared a personal anecdote about an awkward situation in his past that made people pause, and just that alone had the timeline buzzing. But hold up, there's more. Another story started circulating describing a different uncomfortable moment, and that's when people began saying, wait, something here doesn't add up. Suddenly, viewers weren't just reacting to a single clip, they were noticing a pattern of concerning behavior. Because now we're seeing a second example of a boundary being crossed in his stories. And then he added, that happened to me for real. And folks online were left stunned.
That happened to me for real. One day I was living with this lady, and her daughters crawled in the bed, and I ain't have on
Yeah.
I was up under the cover,
Wow.
and I was like, "Oh." And one of her
Tell
daughters
him,
was
Michael.
like,
Rest in peace.
her daughter was she was in high school. I think she was 15. Still not legal. You just can't tell your true thoughts. Her daughter was gonna be thick like her mama. I know that much.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about two completely different ages here, that points to two entirely separate situations, which makes this even heavier. So now people aren't joking anymore. They're asking a very real, very serious question.
I want to say to that little 16-year-old girl who was arguing with me, "You born to lose, bitch. You're gonna lose. I could tell how you are. I'll be there when you lose too.
Can you imagine if this sitting there like,
I'm gonna find your back page handle and I'm gonna get at you, goddammit." When you sodomize a little boy, but it make a different sound too.
No, don't.
How many times does something like this have to happen before it stops sounding like some random accident? Because let's be honest, most people can't even point to one moment in their life where something like that occurred. Not one. So when you're hearing multiple stories, different situations, that's when the internet starts side-eyeing hard and saying, nah, this isn't sitting right. At some point, accountability has to step into the chat. When certain boundaries get crossed, it stops being edgy humor and starts feeling straight up disturbing. And that's exactly the energy in the room when Corey pushed it too far with that comment. You could even hear Darlene jump in like, Corey, oh, you know, Corey, no, that's not good to say, Corey. That wasn't laughter filling the air. That was damage control unfolding in real time.
Let me tell you something. America, guess what? Guess what, America? All you dumb who ain't never left the hood. I understand why you feel the way you feel, because Master taught you the way he taught you. But if you ever leave out the United States of America, you will find out this fair game at all these ages that is talking about right now. I've been on this earth 15, 16 years.
He's ready to...
Now, of course, the diehard supporters rushed in with the usual defense, saying, oh, he's just edgy, that's his style, like that alone clears everything up. They argue he lives to push boundaries, and that the audience is just too sensitive to handle it. But hold up. Corey then looked dead serious and said society isn't attracted to kids because massa brainwashed us. And that's the moment a lot of people hit pause. That's when the timeline said, nah, that's not a punchline, that's a wild statement. Most people don't need brainwashing to understand that harming or exploiting children is wrong, period. To be fair, Corey did attempt to reel it back in a little. He insisted he would never cross that line and said he wouldn't deal with anyone whose mind wasn't fully developed. On the surface, okay, that sounds responsible. But then, listen to this, came the caveat. And that's exactly where the discomfort crept right back in. Because just when it felt like he was correcting course, he started hinting at a workaround to his own logic.
Hey!
Well, that doesn't make it okay. What the
We're
heck
not
are
saying
y'all
it's
talking
okay.
about?
I'm not saying it's okay.
Well, please
But a lot
clarify.
of these women are
Yeah,
children.
I am clarifying. I'm saying in America, you are limited to think that you got to wait for a hoe to be 18
Nah.
for it to be something that's right in your mind. But do the research on these other countries and find out when grown can put grown hoes. You'll find out. See, me personally, I would never fuck with a bitch who mind ain't developed.
Well, that's why they have an age.
But wait, let me say this.
okay.
Let me say this, D.
Do it.
And that's the exact moment critics leaned forward and said, wait a minute, what are you really implying here? Because once you start searching for loopholes in conversations about minors, listen to this, it doesn't sit right with most people at all. That's why this situation keeps snowballing, and folks aren't laughing it off as edgy jokes anymore. This is where a lot of viewers said the line wasn't just crossed, it was erased. Corey stated he would never be with a woman whose mind wasn't fully developed. For a brief second, it sounded like he was finally planting his flag and setting a clear boundary. But then, hold up, he added what many listeners felt was a deeply unsettling workaround, and you could feel the room's energy shift almost instantly. The way many people interpreted it, what he said next came off like he was trying to rationalize how someone extremely young could eventually develop over time if you grow alongside them.
In other places of the world, you can grow with her. You can mold her mind or whatever y'all gonna do where y'all ain't got the influence of whack United States. Because you understand in the United States of America, a bitch will say you did something, and depending on who the bitch is, that shit go.
I hear you on that one, but at the same time, the maturity factor, see, I think you like the fact that in those countries they can marry somebody like that because they don't know what they're doing. You just said that these girls
Who don't know what they doing?
those girls that young, so the guy's gonna, you just said they can grow together. You already know what you're talking about. So that
Hey,
the guy
I know
can
some
mold
people.
her.
I know some people where the dude had to get permission to get married to the daughter,
Right.
and they are still together. It worked. Yeah.
They get pulled in.
Somebody say I said a 15, 16-year-old girl is perfect. Hey, I said a 15, 16-year-old girl is a perfect, you can have the healthiest baby you can have with somebody like that.
statistics,
I said that. If you know anything about human anatomy, that's what I'm talking about. I said, in America, if a girl is 18 or under 18, then it's drama. If you put a girl under 18 in America, it's drama.
I mean, a young bitch, when you grown, I don't think that helped the community, man.
I'm just keeping it real. It's some somebody like to say, once young girls are in high school and their bodies are developed a certain way, it look good.
That interpretation by itself lit the internet up like gasoline on a spark. When you start talking about growing with a 5, 6, or 7-year-old so that later their mind is developed, people aren't hearing stand-up anymore. They're hearing something that feels deeply, fundamentally wrong. And then, listen to this, it went even further. He said, straight-faced, that a 15 or 16-year-old could produce the healthiest baby. That comment stunned a lot of viewers because it wasn't just morally alarming, it flat out clashed with basic medical understanding of physical and emotional maturity. In older clips, he referenced 16, 17, 18, but now the age seemed to drop even lower. And that's exactly why critics are saying this has moved beyond edgy shock talk. People immediately started asking, where does that idea even come from? What anatomy class is teaching that teenagers are biologically ideal for childbirth in today's world? Medical experts consistently warn about the health risks and psychological consequences tied to teen pregnancy, so hearing that claim felt reckless and irresponsible to many listeners. That's why so many critics argue this isn't just about offensive humor anymore. When statements begin to sound like they're normalizing harmful ideas involving minors, the backlash is going to be intense every single time. And that's precisely why the situation keeps escalating instead of quietly fading out. Now here's the bigger issue people keep circling back to. This isn't one stray comment pulled out of context. It's a pattern of remarks that repeatedly orbit the same disturbing subject. And that's why the criticism isn't cooling off. When the same brand of shock value keeps resurfacing, folks stop calling it edgy and start calling it a red flag. A lot of critics are saying this goes way beyond comedy. In stand-up, yes, you can test limits, but there's a point where the audience doesn't laugh, they go silent. And when the room freezes instead of erupting, that silence tells you everything you need to know.
That's exactly what viewers say they're witnessing in these clips. Supporters still insist he's intentionally stirring the pot. They argue he's pushing limits, provoking debate, trying to stand out in a crowded space. But critics keep coming back with one clear rebuttal. There's a major difference between dark humor and commentary that sounds like it's normalizing harm involving minors. That's not a thin line, that's a canyon. And now the real conversation shifting through the timeline is about accountability. When does someone pause and admit, maybe this path isn't it? Because the internet has a long memory, and every clip gets replayed, slowed down, and analyzed frame by frame. This isn't 2005, this is viral culture in real time. At the end of the day, the backlash isn't dying down because people don't see these as jokes that simply flopped. They believe boundaries were crossed more than once. And once that perception locks in, it's incredibly difficult to undo, no matter how devoted the fanbase may be. Now, here's where things grow even heavier. The online conversation isn't centered on one isolated clip anymore. People are lining everything up side by side and examining the full pattern. And when those remarks are stacked back to back, critics say the picture becomes hard to dismiss. They argue this isn't about cancel culture, it's about responsibility. When you command a massive platform with millions listening, your words carry serious weight. You can't throw out extreme statements and then retreat behind "it's just jokes" when the audience clearly isn't laughing. What's fueling this fire even more is the delivery. These lines didn't sound like structured punchlines with build-up and payoff. They came across as calm, direct, and almost conversational. That's why many viewers say it didn't register as comedy. It felt like conviction. And to be clear, most people don't need society, history, or any supposed brainwashing to understand that involving minors in adult or romantic contexts is wrong. That's a fundamental moral boundary for the overwhelming majority. When someone appears to question that boundary, even hypothetically, it's going to ignite outrage every single time. Now the pressure is mounting. Fans are watching closely to see if there will be a genuine explanation, a real apology, or at minimum a firm statement that shuts this down completely. Because right now, silence mixed with partial clarifications is only amplifying the noise. And in today's viral ecosystem, once a narrative gains traction, it accelerates fast and hits hard. At this stage, many people feel like he's already revealed where he stands.
After the initial wave of clips surfaced, he went on his platform and labeled critics as haters, jealous, and out to destroy him. He even suggested there was an attempt to assassinate his character through these accusations, and critics fired back with, "Hold on, man. When do you actually pause and take accountability?" Instead of saying, "If those jokes crossed a line, I apologize," he doubled down. Instead of clearly disavowing the statements, he painted critics as jealous. And viewers keep asking the same question: where was the punchline? Because what they heard wasn't jokes with setup and payoff, they were serious statements delivered deadpan. People also remember the moment he corrected a fan live on air. When that fan questioned his claim about teenagers producing the healthiest babies, he snapped back and basically called them ignorant about anatomy. That clip is circulating like wildfire right now. Critics argue that it wasn't satire, it was conviction. Now, many are predicting what's next. They think he'll pivot to the victim angle again, claiming the world is out to get him. But critics push back, saying this isn't about hate, it's about responsibility when talking about minors. That's exactly why this debate hasn't cooled down. And if you've been following this breakdown and want more unfiltered hip-hop commentary like this, hit subscribe right now. Smash that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video. And if you really want to back a small content creator, tap that hype button. It helps more than you think. Big love to every single one of you rocking with the channel.
The last time Corey Holcomb had a show after the first batch of these clips got released, the first PDF receipts released, Corey Holcomb came on his show and he said how we were all haters, we were envious, we were trying to tear him down, how we want to get him assassinated with the PDF allegations. And I'm like, hold on, right? Hold on, man. Hold on. At what point do you say, hey, man, let me just come out and apologize, man. Let me just come out and disavow and denounce all the nasty things I said. If they were jokes, even though I didn't hear not one joke, I didn't hear a punchline. I heard you say things with a straight face. I heard you correct a fan. When a fan said, Corey, what are you talking? I heard you correct a fan and call him stupid and say he don't know anatomy if he doesn't believe that a 15 or 16-year-old girl can give you the healthiest baby out of any other age. You said that. But watch Corey play victim and call us haters and say we're trying to get him killed.
We ain't worried about them. They weren't never the problem. What it is, we have mass media trying to shut down the voice of Corey Holcomb in the 5150 show, and of course, the bloggers who are envious of what we do are going to join in. Ever since TMZ has gave a one-sided version of what happened, it then got to the point where even a man like me, who I don't walk around living in fear, but I fear for my life now because I see what has been said about me, and they are desperate to bring me down because the word pedophile has been thrown in the mix. And let me tell you something, this is deep. I am no pedophile. I have never been accused of being a pedophile. I have never had charges of being a pedophile. This is something that's coming from the mass media, TMZ. Ever since they said what they said, they trying to get at me for real. Let me tell you something what they do, because they did this to Michael Jackson. They did this to Martin Luther King. They did this to Malcolm X. They did this to so many people. When they ready to come get you, they assassinate your character so people don't look at you as a human being. They look at you as a villain. So they are using mass media now to come holler at your boy. This isn't little weak bloggers. Little weak bloggers have been talking crazy about me ever since I've been on air. But TMZ took a one-sided story of a woman who's addicted to drugs and quite dangerous.